Hello everyone. So today let us talk about sprint dates. Now I of course make videos on Jira, but when it comes to uh, delivering, I always focus and I always work based on the outcome and my work, my responsibilities for my clients or people I work with, they all know that, or I try to let them know that don't just look at me and don't just treat me as someone who is going to help you with only Jira. I try to look at the big picture. I try to look at the problems that people or organizations need to solve, and and that is why, of course, I talk about quite a lot of things. Of course, my channel has been focused on Atlassian tools, but I also want to share things, stuff related to general project management stuff. Now, we all know about Jira software and we all know about the capabilities of Jira software the when it comes to the sprints or the way you can plan the work or basically iterations if you're trying to follow agile by book. Now the thing is that people want to know how, and this is again based on my experience working with other people, they want to know uh, about the sprint dates and how Jira software behaves and works and can help them when it comes to planning the work. Now, first, let us talk about the sprint dates. And if you're wondering what dates you should keep in mind when you're planning your sprint, I don't really think there is any standard or industry standard kind of a thing. Basically, use dates that works for you. For example, if you're trying to create a sprint, it will of course give you the option to give like it will give you an option to use the sprint name, and I will talk about and I will make another video on sprint names, but I want to talk about and focus on the dates. Now the thing is that if you notice here, the moment I clicked on the start or create a new sprint, it will create a sprint with some dates suggested for you, and you may not want to like straight away use it. So the thing that I want to talk about is that if you're planning your sprint or if you are trying to align the cadence that you want to follow in your organization, my personal recommendation based on what I have been doing with my clients for many years, I think try to start your sprints on Monday and try to end your sprints on Friday. So if you're let us say using this option here, duration 2 weeks, then it will basically use 2 weeks straight away. But let me show you. If you select here custom, and if you now look at let us say the sprint was started on 4th of or 17th of April, it will basically suggest that okay, if you want 2 weeks, then okay, it will end on 1st of May. So this is probably fine, but the thing is that if you start doing this, then your dates will start shifting. So if you're starting your sprint on 17, which is Monday, then ideally you should end the sprint on 28th of April, or basically whatever date, like whatever month you're, I mean, right now, of course, it is August. So let us move to August so we can relate to it. So let us say for today we are talking about 17th of August and I want to start the sprint by 21st. Then I want to also end it by 28th, or not 28th, sorry, 21st and 1st of September. Basically, this will, if you follow this pattern, I mean, you can also do something like, okay, like only start on a specific day of the month, irrespective of whether it is a Monday or Tuesday. But if you try to follow Monday to Friday, then it is natural. Most companies follow, in most of the countries, I believe, they follow Monday to Friday. I know in some countries Friday is off, but in most countries Friday is the last working day of the week. unless they change it to 4 days a week, which is of course great. But of course 5 days of 5 days working is fine. It's more than enough, to be honest. Anyways, so if you follow this Monday to Friday pattern, then your dates, of course, will roll over and can roll over to other month. For example, in this case, my date will roll over. My sprint is ending on 1st of September. But if I start, let us say I delete this sprint. Let me just get rid of it, and let me create one more. Then for the next set of sprints, for sprint number 3, start your sprint on the first Monday, which is 4th of September, and end it by 15th of September. So, by the way, this is something that I think works fine, and it is natural, because many organizations, imagine that you're working in a team, and usually, and again, I'm not trying to generalize, but usually people are energetic, or they are they are in this mood to do something, usually on Monday. And when it comes to Thursday, Friday, people are, of course, they're trying to relax, they want to go out, they want to socialize, they want to have drinks. So when you are following this pattern Monday to Friday, like Friday of next week, then it is, of course, the most natural thing to do. At the same time, if we talk about the sprint goal, of course, sprint goal is not just a goal that you want to achieve technically by delivery, but that goal should be also in a way aligned, or you should try to make sure that people are looking forward to that sprint end on Friday. For example, Friday morning, instead of doing your stand-up call, maybe do your stand-up call, but maybe by Friday evening, or maybe by Friday late evening, just do your sprint retrospective, and maybe order food or drinks, maybe go out. And I think this is really important. Personally, I'm not really a massively social person, but it is always good to do these things when you have like a sprint which is ending on Friday. And of course, if you do it every Friday, like every Friday there is a party, then of course it is too much. There should be like a balance, and people should wait for, okay, we have like next week will you should try to I don't really want to talk about rewards and incentives, but you should try to have this or create this culture in your organization where you are trying to celebrate small things, like end of the sprint, we have delivered something, let us review the goals, and okay, let us celebrate and enjoy this moment. And of course, every I'm sure in every organization, or most of the organizations I have worked with, they do anyways, these monthly, or every 2 months they have some kind of a big party. But your sprint dates, imagine that you're doing something which is 2 weeks and then 2 weeks. I mean, the example that I gave you, like if you're using custom here, or sorry, if you're using 2 weeks here, then your dates will keep on shifting, and it is actually a bit confusing. You don't really want to remind people that, okay, last week or last sprint ended on Thursday, and the next sprint will end on Friday, and then Monday, and so on. And don't worry about the reports, because the reports will take care of non-working days. So if you're looking at because usually people don't work on, and you should not be working on weekends, and in fact you should encourage users, or I should say discourage users from working late or even on weekends. So if they are going to do something on weekend, it won't really count anyways to the, the burn down chart will not include the weekends. But of course, if you if you are, of course, working on something on a weekend, of course, that is fine. For some urgent cases, if server is down, I'm sure there are always emergencies. But in most cases, if you're planning something, don't really plan for a weekend. That is, of course, very obvious. And burn down chart will take care of that, because you can, take a look at the burn down chart. So this is something that I wanted to talk about, like sprint dates. And I know Jira will suggest you some dates, And these states, good thing or great thing about Jira is that you don't really have to, and it is actually unique to Jira, or I should say, there is no other there is no other tool that has a lot of flexibility. Jira might suggest you something, but Jira is not really recommending that, okay, you have to do this. That is a great thing about Jira, and of course that is why I still use, and I'm still a Jira consultant. Let us see for how long that lasts. I guess there is still a lot of work needs to be done, and because this is what I do as part of my work. And I'm, of course, on this channel, I'm trying to just share whatever I know, whatever I learn. There is also, what you can potentially do. Let us not talk about automation, but you should appoint, or the responsibility to manage or own the sprints is basically with a Scrum Master or a project manager. So you should write down these things somewhere. That, for example, if I'm looking at this board, and if I don't really see the next 4 sprints, or at least the next 3 sprints, then you should ask the project manager, like, where is my sprint? Where are my issues? So you should, of course, start, because when you create these sprints with dates, then you will, of course, start planning. You should start planning. And of course, when you're talking about something which is ongoing, you will, of course, keep on moving things. So don't really wait for the very last moment to start the sprint. Monday morning, start the sprint. And when it comes to Friday, just close the sprints and do it. Again, not really talking about automation. I've made a lot of videos on automation and similar stuff, but it's more about ownership. Who should actually own these things? Not only in Jira. Jira is a tool to. Jira will, of course, help you to. Jira will enable you to do the work, but someone should actually own the sprint. Imagine there is no Jira. You can still follow Agile, right? You can still create these sprints somewhere in an Excel sheet, but there should be some responsible person, or a responsibility has to be there. All right. So in this video, I just wanted to talk about the dates. If you have any suggestions, feedbacks, or if you have been doing something differently or something basically that works for you, do let me know. And if you want to challenge me, if you think whatever I just talked about was rubbish, then of course you can let me know. All right, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Thank you very much.